fight alone will make us rich beyond our wildest dreams.
I am immortal. I have inside me blood of kings. Take me to the future of your world. This is Disenfranchised Podcast, the podcast all about those franchises of one, those films that fancy themselves full-fledged franchises before falling flat on their face after the first film. I'm your host, Stephen Foxworthy. Joining me, as always, the kind of feminist who has no compulsions about telling women to shut up or knocking them out if the plot calls for it. It's Tucker. Hey, Tucker.
Hello, Stephen.
How we doing?
Okay. I guess.
It's been a while. It's been a few weeks since it's been, you and me in the hosting chairs.
Yeah, I know. You were gone, and then I was gone, which, never happens.
You know who wasn't gone, though?
The Brett.
That's the wildest part, is that you missed an episode and I missed an episode, but you know who didn't miss an episode last month? Brett.
Oh, Steven, I'm just noticing. I just looked behind you and I was like, oh, look, there's a Charlie Chaplin there. And then I saw a big shelf of physical media and I was like, oh, yeah, Steven had moved.
Yeah, I moved. This is the first time you and I have recorded since my move.
Steven had moved. I like that trim around that door, Steven. When was your place made? Like around in probably 70s or 80s? Late 70s, early 80s?
Yeah.
Or at least when they remodeled it?
Right.
Love that old door trim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a nice little place. Definitely been renovated since my last place was, that's for sure.
Nice. And you've got heating and air conditioning this time, hopefully?
Correct. Yep. Central heating and air. Yeah.
Well, I never.
None of this
the fancy part of town now.
None of this radiator that works on occasion shit, but yeah.
When it feels like it.
Right. And I'm in a basement unit, nowhere near a body of water, so it keeps cool without the risk of flooding. So that's great.
That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. But we are here. Brett, of course, he's wandered off into a forest looking for the 444th portal or something, question mark. But this is the kickoff for a brand new theme month. It's our second ever sequel theme month. Last April, we did Arnie April 2, Austrian Boogaloo. This April, we're doing Big in Japan 2, even bigger. Where we're talking about films from Japan that failed to get those sweet, sweet franchise dollars. And we're starting with a little film from the year 2000 called Versus. That's what it's called. It's called Versus. Written and directed by Ryuhei Kitamura. Also written by Yuda Yamaguchi.
Written. I feel like you need to emphasize the air quotes when you say written by anyone.
Look, this has a script. This film died in the edit. I will get into it. And starring Tak Sakaguchi, Hideo Sakaki, Chieko Misaka, Kenji Matsuda, Yuichiro Arai. Look, none of these characters have names. The actors do, but I'm going to be really bad at pronouncing them. Pronouncing them.
Pronouncing them. You're going to be really bad at pronouncing them, Steven.
Oh, yeah. Pronounce. Channeling my inner Billy Connolly. And of course, if you were familiar with the last time we did a series of Japanese films, you'll remember how awful I am at pronouncing anything. There's a girl in this movie, and her character's name is, get this, the girl.
Yeah.
There are a lot of men in this movie, but only one of them is called the man.
Yeah.
Who are the other men? Doesn't matter.
Is that the guy who's keeping us down?
You know what? He does a good job of keeping most of the other characters in this movie down. So I'm willing to place the blame on him as well.
All alert undercover brother. In the entire Brotherhood.
Which one? Eddie Griffin or Michael J. White?
Nope. There is no sequel. There is no
though,
sequel.
Which is why we'll never cover it on this podcast. We can cover we can cover Undercover Brother 2 on was it Unenfranchised? Is that the name of that show that we do?
But I don't want to watch that movie. Hey, Steven, speaking of Undercover Brother, have you seen They Cloned Tyrone?
Not yet. It's
You
on
seen
my
that
list.
shit?
Not
Boy,
yet.
you need to look at it. You need to look at it
I
for
I
sure.
it's on my. I've got so many things to look at right now, dude.
I looked at it. I looked at it, Steven. I looked at that movie, and
I'm
boy, it was
overwhelmed by the
good.
stuff I have to look at. But
It
yeah,
like
I've heard good
scratches that.
things.
It scratches that itch of like the playful homage to blaxploitation that is like Pootie Tang and Undercover Brother.
Right.
But then it's also like seriously fucked up, like a Jordan Peele sort of deal.
Like
Uh,
was it Sorry for Bothering You?
kind
Okay.
of. It's less of a comedy. It has comedic characters and comedic moments, but it's not so much a comedy. And this movie sold me on John Boyega. How do you say his name?
Boyega.
There you
Boyega.
go. It sold me on him because I didn't really like him that much in that Star War, and I haven't. And I think that was just because the character sucked. Because I liked him in Attack the Block, which is the first thing I saw him in,
Mm-hmm.
and then he's really good in this. Like he's a lot like Mahershala Ali in the third season of True Detective. Like
Mm-hmm.
his entire physicality is different.
Mm.
Like the man is a craftsman. And after seeing They Cloned Tyrone, I'm probably going to pay more attention to stuff that he said.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I like John
he's
Boyega. I think
he's really good.
I think he's good.
And Jamie Foxx is hilarious. Jamie Foxx is one of those actors like Tom Hanks, where I wish he'd do more comedies. In Tom Hanks' case, I wish he'd just do a comedy.
Right. Well, you
But
can't
Jamie
win
Foxx,
Oscars doing
like,
comedies, Tucker. I mean, who does he think he is?
he's
Kevin
got
Kline?
he's got enough of those. And the worst thing is that when he decided to go back into comedy, it was The Lady Killers, and it bombed. And I love him in that movie. He
You
is
do?
so hilarious in that movie. Everybody's great in that movie. Such a funny movie. And then I think because of that, he was like, okay, maybe it's just comedy is just not for me anymore. Ugh. One of the best comedic actors of our time, Tom Hanks. And Jamie Foxx, like, used to love that motherfucker on In Living Color. And he used to do a lot of comedies. Now, few and far between. But he's
Because
really, really funny.
you know
He
what
is a
happened to
pimp.
him?
He got
He
an
won an
Oscar.
Oscar.
He got an Oscar.
And you can't win an Oscar doing comedy. Again, who does you think you are?
Yeah, but
Kevin
you
Kline?
straight up already got one.
Yeah, but here's the
That's kind of
thing.
what?
You need more.
No.
I mean, look at the people who have done comedies after winning an Oscar. Cuba Gooding Jr. did fucking Snow Dogs.
Yeah,
Like,
well,
I mean,
Cuba Gooding Jr. No offense to him, but he was in the right place at the right time, and
yes.
that's how he got that Oscar. Is he a good actor? Yes, but he was very much propelled by a script and a director that knew exactly what to do with that man. Because
And I think
everything else I've
that's
seen
what it
him
comes
in,
down to.
he's not great. He's not bad.
Right.
He's been good in a few things. A few things I've seen. Like I said, he's one of those where you really have to catch him at the right moment.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Still love you, Cuba Gooding Jr. Wish your career were doing better.
I remember his brother Omar from a little show called Wild and Crazy Kids when I was a wild and crazy kid.
What wild and crazy kids?
That's the one. The same.
Yeah, dude.
The very same. But yeah, so versus we're kicking off our now Tucker.
Boo! Boo! Straight up boo!
Tucker doesn't like movies where he has to read subtitles.
Hey, I own many foreign films. Okay, many. All right.
Your apartment smells of rich mahogany. You also own
It's
many leather-bound books.
no, it smells like the plastic of my Blu-ray cases. That's
Touche.
There it is. Yes.
I've got mine is the cold metal of my steel books.
Oh. I still only have 2 steelbooks, Steven, because I just don't care about steelbooks. So if like it's the only option or if it's the on sale option, that's what happened with Popstar. It was the steelbook was on sale. It was like $5 cheaper than the regular edition. So I was like, that's $5. I can spend on some other shit.
Right. That's
It is
Tucker and Dale versus Evil was the same thing.
it is a really good Steelbook cover though, because it is a parody of the original Steelbook art for the Shout Factory release of The Blob. But instead of them trying to shoot the Blob, it's Andy Samberg with a flamethrower and there's giant bees everywhere. Because there's that one scene in the movie where the camera gets dropped and you can only hear it, and it's like the giant bees attacking them.
Right.
And so it's on the cover, but it's also a parody of the Blob cover from the Shout Factory release of the Blob.
Nice.
It's kind of brilliant. Commentary is good too.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We should do a commentary for this movie.
Versus. It might help us understand it better, honestly.
But then I'd have to watch it again.
You would. Here's the thing. So it is so to try to explain what this movie is, it is a samurai gangster zombie fantasy epic. I think is kind of what they're going for here. Like there's this notion that there are these portals that are everywhere, and that one of them is in this place called the Forest of Resurrection, which is where
guess what happens there.
Movie takes place. And whenever you die in the Forest of Resurrection, you turn into a zombie.
Yes, but so this movie establishes, while it's making zombies, that as soon as you die, like 10 seconds, maybe 10 seconds after you die, you're right back up, right? So why does it take them realizing that all the people they killed are buried there for those people to rise? They've supposedly been there for months, some years, because there's a line of dialogue where it's like, we come out here and kill people and we bury them. So why weren't they coming back then, and why are they coming back now after they've been dead for so long?
My guess is it has something to do with the three main characters of this movie, who are these like reincarnated triad.
Tale as old as time.
Carries throughout history.
Yeah.
The man, the prisoner, and the girl. The three archetypes, I guess. Shrug.
If you're like a 13-year-old boy who's into Hong Kong flicks.
This movie is really indebted, just in terms of filmmaking, to like Quentin Tarantino, and stylistically very, very, very Quentin, very Matrix. Like it comes out a
little Sam Raimi in there, and a little Michael Bay too. You can't deny Michael Bay, because there's like probably 6 or 7 Bad Boys 2 shit just got real shots that happen in a matter of like 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I almost got dizzy. Like I was like, I do not want to get motion sickness from this fucking movie, because you do it once, that's cool. You keep doing it, and I'm old, and my brain thinks I've been poisoned.
And then, like, in those moments, the editing is really rapid fire. It's like quick succession. And then in these other moments, everything just slows to a crawl for these shots that quote unquote look cool.
Do they though?
Which is, but again, it's 2000, Tucker. So
I could see where they're trying, what they're going for, why they think it's cool. I get that. But no, it's all cringe. It's all cringe as fuck.
Right. Like this is the same filmmaker who would go on to do Midnight Meat Train.
Which I've always seen the cover for, but I've never watched. And I like What's His Nuts, because he's in those first couple Guy Ritchie movies, the guy that's in that Meat Train movie.
Vinnie Jones.
Yeah.
But like, so but this is, I think, one of his first, if not his first feature film. No, it's his third, but like it feels like an early feature. Like it feels like you're trying to figure, like a director figuring stuff out, like what works and what doesn't. Like there's this almost this feeling of, I grabbed a bunch of my friends and we went into the woods and we shot an action movie. Kind of
it's like someone wrote a micro budget film but got a low budget instead.
Yes. is really kind of what it feels like. I mean, all the effects budget really just went to the gore, like the gore effects, which are okay. You know, again, for time and
They're
place and
fine.
budget considerations, yeah, it's fine for what it is. Which I think is kind of where I come down on this movie. It's fine. Like, it's not offensively bad. Like, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but is it like, I could see this being remade with a budget and actually, and maybe, you know, like someone who knows how to edit and someone figuring out the story and how to piece it together. It feels very unwieldy, like someone's trying to just put every good idea they had, or what they consider a good idea that they have for a movie, just up on the screen. Like, we can't, you know, save anything. We're putting it all up there, but then we also don't know how to kill our darlings, so we're putting it all up there.
I kind of feel the same. I think this movie is it's too much. It's
Yes.
too much.
This movie does not need to be 2 hours long. Like, it
It
is
doesn't.
nauseatingly 2 hours long.
Yes, like this movie could be Pootie Tang length. This could be an hour and 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But everything has to go so far. And it doesn't serve the story. It doesn't serve the film. This movie makes the bold choice of not letting its audience in on anything that's actually going on.
No, the main villain of the story doesn't even enter the movie until like 30 to 45 minutes in.
And let me tell you, at the beginning of this movie, I was on board. Like that
Right.
opening sequence. And even then, I was like, yes, this movie does make the bold choice of not giving me any fucking clue as to what's happening, but that could be interesting. But no. Soon after the cold open, I was like, yeah, this is just too much of everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything's dialed up to 11. They need to take it down to about 7.
Yeah.
On everything.
The character played by, I think this is the actor that's playing this character, Kenji Matsuda, who plays a character called Yakuza Leader with Butterfly Knife.
The silly guy. The really silly guy.
He's so over the top.
It works for about 30 seconds, and then after that, you're like, yeah, no, too much, bud. And then by the end of it, when he's crawling around and just making a fool of himself.
Mm-hmm.
I almost blasphemed in front of you, Steven. I'm sorry.
You did. That's
I haven't been around you in a while, you know, though I have been around Joe, so I should be on.
I was going to say, you should be on even more than
high
your
alert.
best behavior, honestly.
And I just want to let everyone know that I don't normally bow to the preferences of people with my words, but both Steven and Joe I respect quite a bit.
Oh, that's
two of only 3 people I will censor myself for because I respect them. So, just saying.
Thank you.
Okay. No.
I appreciate it.
It doesn't seem like much, but I don't know.
No. But no, you're right. Like it's too much, and it's too much too fast. Like he comes out at 11 and you're like, buddy, give yourself somewhere to go. You've got to start it. If you want to end it at 11, you've got to start at a 1 or maybe a 2 or 3.
Yep.
Like that's one of the first rules that I learned as an actor is give yourself somewhere to go. If you know you need to be huge by the end, start small so that there's a progression, there's a build, there's a rise to it. This guy just starts at 11 and just stays there. And it's you're right. It's just too much, man.
It's way too much. There's the dumb guy is, I don't want to say he's funny, but that actor, he understands comedic timing.
Yeah.
It's just all of the jokes suck.
Correct.
But I would love to see the I guess he's the dumb guy. He's the guy that first gets held. He's the guy that other guy makes shoot the one guy. He's the dumb guy.
Yeah.
The guy that's dumb.
I think
he's got that
Crazy
guy's talented.
Yakuza with Amulet. Is that who that guy is? I honestly
No, he's the guy that meets the police guys and
motorcycle riding Yakuza with revolver.
No, that's the handsome guy. He dies way too soon. The dumb guy, the guy that's just an idiot, like the idiot of the group.
I'm okay. Let me read you
You know,
these
the guy
character
with the
names.
teeth. The guy with the teeth, and he has like full blood on his face.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Okay,
I'm
all
just
right,
trying to
okay,
figure
okay.
out the
Oh,
name of the name of
oh
the
boy.
character.
Good luck.
The
Good luck.
characters are the main character is prisoner KSC2-303.
Yeah.
The main villain is the man. The only female is the girl. I'm sorry, there actually is
Now
a
there's
female
like 3 or
another
4 lady fighters.
there is long-haired female assassin and short-haired female assassin as
And
well.
then there's the one with the makeup that gets sexually assaulted for like 3 minutes, and we can't, like, we're just like, is this over yet? Is he done licking and kissing her while offering her eternal life, where she's obviously not into any of it? That's
Right.
makeup girl. You have short-haired girl, long-haired girl, makeup girl, and non-fighter girl.
I don't have makeup girl anywhere on here. What I do have is Yakuza leader with butterfly knife,
Yep.
motorcycle riding Yakuza with revolver,
Okay.
crazy
Alright.
Yakuza with amulet, Yakuza with glasses, red haired assassin, long haired female assassin, one handed cop, samurai warrior, cop with beret, short haired female assassin, Yakuza zombie and alligator skin coat, and other prisoner. Those are the characters I have in this movie.
It's got to be amulet guy then. I don't remember him having an amulet though.
I mean, the fact that he is
I don't even
crazy
remember an
Yakuza,
amulet.
it tells me that it's probably him. I'm going to click on his IMDb profile and see if there are any pictures of him. Of course, there are not. Great, lovely, wonderful. You love to see it.
But
All
what if
right.
you go to the IMDb pictures and it's a picture of him, and then on the caption it should say like who the actor is, right? Isn't that something? That's something that happens on IMDb when you look at photos. It's 100 photos of the poster.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Crazy Guy? And I don't even see Crazy Guy. He's not even in any of these photos.
Oh, it is crazy Yakuza with amulet. The actor's name is Minoru Matsumoto.
That guy, he was doing something, and
He
it didn't
was.
work. It didn't work, but I could see that he understood comedic timing.
Right.
You could tell.
Yeah.
You could be like, man, if these jokes were good, this guy, oh boy.
You're only as good as the material you're given, right? And so this
Yep.
guy, there's only so much you can do, but he at least, I think, his humor worked better than Yakuza leader with butterfly knives did.
Yeah, that
I called
guy.
him green shirt through the entire movie.
Yeah, doughy faced guy.
Yeah. I mean, that guy comes out and you're like, oh, this guy's going to be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then as soon, like 5 minutes in, and you're like, okay, I want him to die spectacularly.
As soon as possible.
And then he's like the last one to die too. Like
they kill him a couple times, but he just keeps coming back, as is the nature of this
forest of resurrection.
Yep.
And they don't really apply, like the standard zombie rules don't really apply. Like I kind of wish Brett were here, so A, he could tell us why this is good, and B, so that he can explain to us whether or not these are actual zombies.
I don't know if you know this, Steven, but I may be slightly more, don't tell Brett, but I may be slightly more of a zombie expert than he is. So
Okay.
throw some questions at me here. We'll keep this between us. Nobody needs to know.
I mean, I'm sure our listeners won't message him on. Oh, well, he's not on social media, so perfect.
Ha ha!
We win.
We'll hear this. I respect Brett, but like I'm Ron Swanson in the Home Depot in this situation.
I know exactly what reference you're talking about because
Okay.
that is what I reference every time I go to church these days. If I'm in church and I'm listening to like a pastor preach, I'm just sitting there like Ron Swanson going, I know more than you. I told the story about the time I went to church for like my nephew's dedication?
No, but gosh, I wish you would.
So my ex and I drove up to my sister and brother-in-law lived in northern Indiana, and it was my first nephew. It was his dedication.
Up there in Kokomo.
Further, it was like Angola, like way up north, like way up there, like practically like Canada. or
Karma
Michigan.
Records, some crackheads. Oh, I was saying Kokomo, Indiana, not
That's
Kokomo.
right.
Regular.
Not the made up Caribbean island Kokomo.
I
So
lived in
we,
Kokomo for a while.
of course you did.
More on that later.
We drove up there to see his dedication, and so of course my brother-in-law is leading worship at this church. So
Yeah.
we're it's fine. It's what it is. It's it's acoustic guitar driven worship. And then afterwards, it's like the associate pastor's day to preach,
Oh,
and
nice.
he's up there and he's preaching, and he says like he's talking about the early church and the roles of the apostles post the ascension of Jesus. And he goes, and Peter's like, he's the leader of the apostles. And I can't help myself. I just out loud say, nope.
Yeah.
Just sitting there. And I'm like, literally, because he's not. James, the brother of Jesus, is the leader of the apostles.
I mean, even I know that. Come
There
on.
are multiple scriptural accounts that indicate this. But no, let's say Peter is the leader of the apostles. And literally, just out loud, I go, nope. My ex elbows me so hard in the side. And just, I get the shut up. So
Well,
and it just came out. Like I don't even think I realized I said it out loud. I just went, nope. And I don't know how many people, if any, actually heard me. She heard me, but I was just like, nope, that's not right. Like,
well,
because again, I know more than you. Like, look, dude, you've apparently dedicated your entire life to this. You might want to know something about it, but look at the state of the church right now.
I was gonna say, yeah, like you don't really have to know about it. You just you have to know how to give it to people.
Heyo.
You know what I mean?
That's what she said.
Yeah, dude. Well, I was not shooting for an innuendo, but I'll take it, I suppose.
Yeah, damn straight you will. That's what
I'll
she
take
said.
it. I'll take it. Yeah.
That's what she said. Yeah,
I suppose she said that.
she did. That's
Among the things that were uttered by this lady,
among other things.
that was part of it. Yeah.
That was part of the things that she said. Yeah.
So how these compare to the one true zombies, aka Romero zombies, that
Correct.
were
The standard by which all zombies are measured and found wanting.
The foundation of which was set in the original Night of the Living Dead in 1968. As we know, before that, zombies were more of a voodoo thing.
Yes.
Speaking of zombies as a voodoo thing, please check out Serpent in the Rainbow. Everyone.
Wes Craven. Yeah.
Bill Pullman. Holy shit. That movie is so grounded and so good. But anyway, these zombies don't seem to be compelled by anything. They just seem to be slower, much slower. Because like I noticed that in the cold open, they're just standing there like moving centimeters. And I don't normally measure by the metric system, but centimeters are so much smaller than inches. Like I have to say centimeters. Because they're barely moving until the plot needs them to. They don't seem to be driven by a hunger for flesh. I don't see them eat anyone. The only biting that I saw in this movie was a rather vampiric bite by one dude after he just completely sexually assaulted that one lady. Makeup Yakuza lady. Pow,
Was that long-haired assassin? I think that might have been long-haired assassin.
Yeah, was he why did he, and he was like eternal life and he bit her and then that didn't really go anywhere, like
because the thing that gives the eternal life is the forest of resurrection, but apparently then also combined with like the blood of the girl,
of the gal,
and
unless she uses it to resurrect someone else, then it's that person's blood,
because it can only be
she only resurrect? So like how? But then, like, why did the guy bite that girl and like talking about eternal life?
I think that was just like one of his like fetishes, like sick fetishes.
I see. What I'm saying is these zombies
That's how you know he's a bad guy in the year 2000, Tucker.
These zombies are more akin to Italian zombies from the 60s and 70s. Stuff like Tomb of the Blind Dead, that whole series. They're just shuffling corpses with no clear goal. They don't even want to eat. They might kill somebody, like, just for fun. like the video dead type of zombies. They're just there to cause some ruckus. And luckily they were all buried with their guns.
Right. Because otherwise they'd just be zombies.
Yeah.
But these are gangster zombies, so they all have guns and
Yes.
knives.
Mm-hmm.
The I forget where I was going with that, but yes.
Something about knives and guns with zombies.
Knives and guns and zombies. Like you mentioned that they're just moving like so slowly, which is such
slow.
a weird fucking choice because everyone else in this movie is moving like faster than the speed of sound, it seems like.
I had to check a few times to see if I wasn't watching this movie at double speed.
I mean, they're just like my one of my favorite ridiculous scenes in this movie, of which there are several, is when the short-haired female assassin shows up out of nowhere, apropos of nothing, and just starts fighting our prisoner main character guy. And he will she'll dodge him and then he'll punch like the air like 10 times where she was standing. And then she'll move again and then he'll punch the air where she was standing like 10 more times. And I'm dude, you can see her moving. Like, why don't you just like throw a punch the other way? Come on.
I did appreciate the choreography at the beginning of that fight because she seemingly comes out of nowhere and I don't even know where he was going. And they just kind of size each other up. They don't really talk. They're not sure if they're going to fight, but they might fight. And like the first 5 or 6 attacks that she makes towards him, he just kind of dodges them like, oh wait, are we fighting? Are we actually fighting? And then he starts hitting her. And like that was just like a tiny little nugget of the movie where I was like, wow, there was like some unsaid shit there and it was, the bar is so low at this point.
Right.
Like I was like, oh, they're communicating something, without being completely right in my face with it. It's a very subtle thing. And I appreciated that. That was a point in the movie where I was like, I think this is probably going to be a part that I talk about for a minute on the podcast because like it's it was a nice little subtle thing. And I appreciated this movie for about 15 seconds.
The way that characters are introduced and dispatched of and reintroduced and redispatched of is almost whiplash inducing. Like characters will show up and they'll just like start and you're like, who are you? Where did you come from? We have no explanation for who you are whatsoever. But here you are and we're fighting. Why? Because this is an action movie and that's apparently what we do in action movies. Like, but there's no like background as to who these people are. There's assassins, but who are they with? What are they doing? Why are they after this guy? My favorite side story in this are the cops because they are ridiculous. And I found particularly the straight-laced cop who like tries to do the bullet time thing at the end.
The master of all martial arts.
Yes, I found him hilarious. Like I thought that was maybe my favorite, like even better than Crazy Yakuza with Amulet. I thought that guy was hilarious.
I also liked the guy with one hand, how he kept stabbing Amulet guy. There he is. That's the guy I'm talking about. That's the guy who was stabbing with his stump.
Yeah.
He kept doing that and like they were just both so surprised.
Yeah.
And like also filled with glee. Like they were both surprised and astonished and amazed. And another little tiny moment of maybe what this movie could have been if someone had just showed a little restraint. It wouldn't have taken much.
A
little restraint, shave off 45 minutes. We're good.
This movie needed a
doesn't have to make sense.
Editor. This movie needed a very serious editor to come in and kind of just clean this shit up.
Instead, they got Paul Feig, who just leaves everything in his movie.
Paul include every take Feig, yes.
Everything that we shot is getting included.
Yes. I mean, and if not in the theatrical release, then definitely in the director's cut.
The editing room floor is clean. You can eat off of it. Eat off that motherfucker, because nothing is there.
Nothing. And that is this movie. Like there are things that I think worked really, like the last showdown with the cop where he's like, your slow bullets won't work on me, and he takes off his tie, and then he like tries to do the bullet time thing and trips and ends up getting blown up. Like I
Oh,
love that.
I thought he was too fast. Because like he does the thing, but then he bounces back up. I thought he was just too fast, and
Oh,
that's even
maybe that's it.
funnier to
Yeah.
me.
No, I
Is
think
that
you might have the
he's
right read, but
so
yeah,
fast. He's such a master of all martial arts that he overshot it.
that's funny. That your
Like he
read is
was too
funnier. Yeah.
good and bounced back up too quickly and actually got hit by the big bullets.
And just get like explodes into millions of pieces.
There
You're
are
right, because
gems here. There
he
are
pops up
gems
and goes,
here.
oops. That's right. You're right. No,
Yeah.
you're right. Because he pops up and is like, oops, and boom. Yeah. No, you're right.
There are gems here, but they are not worth the price of admission.
And that's it. I think if this movie had been tighter, if it had been cleaned up a little bit, there would really be something here. Like I
Agreed.
think the action scenes are really well shot in places.
Mhm.
And in some places, like the last scene between the man and the prisoner, I'm just like, that thing dragged. That was like the last half hour of the movie, is that one
Yeah.
fight. And I'm just like, we can clean this up. Like they're doing these long, like slow dolly shots, or like trying to emulate the bullet time thing where they're going like
Yeah.
around. And I'm just like, we're staying on this for like 2 minutes. Like, let's get moving, tighten this shit
Yeah.
up, and let's go.
Let's go.
Like I don't need all that shit. Like let's just book it and move. But no, we're not doing that.
Yeah. And another, speaking of bad writing, another example of the old trope of you're not powerful enough to beat me until you are.
Right.
Until you try just a little bit harder. And
Uh-huh.
then I'm not so indestructible.
Right.
The whole movie I've been saying, you can't get me.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you just try real hard and you got me.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in fairness, that's most action movies on one level or another.
Especially if there's some sort of fantasy element where it's
Yes.
like, I'm indestructible. Your weapons have no effect on me until they do. Because you're the good guy and you tried a little harder, so
until you believe just the right way.
you believed in yourself.
That's
just
it.
enough. Just enough.
I mean, and there's a lot of Highlander in this movie, like the two immortals, like across history shit. That's very Highlander. There's a lot of Matrix in this movie, just without the really effects budget, honestly. And
now, did I miss something?
Philosophical storytelling.
Do you remember that when that one guy just comes out of nowhere? They're by the water. The guy with sunglasses and like the pink hair.
Yeah.
Looks like he's out of an anime, like a Dragon Ball or
red haired assassin. He looks like he's just gone Super Saiyan.
So they fight, and Homeboy gets him, right? And then I seem to remember he took his sunglasses because they made a point of showing him put them on and adjust them. And then in the very next scene, that guy gets back up, and he has his sunglasses on, and he pushes him up in the same way that the guy who just killed him and took his sunglasses did. And the other guy, you never see him with those sunglasses again.
Correct.
There's just so many things in this movie that.
Well, that one's in the film. You might have like looked away for a second or blinked because
I must have.
He puts on the glasses and he looks at the girl and she just like shakes her head, and so he takes them off and puts them back on the body.
So we're obviously doing the Matrix, but we want to also let you know that we know we're doing that and we're not going to go too far into it. Kind of got it.
Because by that point, he is literally wearing exactly what Neo is wearing. He's got the long leather duster. He's got the black shirt, the jean. Like he's wearing he is dressed exactly like Neo at that point. Yeah. So it's very much like a winky winky. We saw the Matrix 2 winky winky kind of thing.
Like we know you saw the Matrix.
Yeah,
like,
we know that you know that we're doing the Matrix.
You don't have to. Yeah.
Wow. And because we're putting a button on it, you know that we know, and we're being this is what counts as clever.
Steven, this movie is so over the top.
It is.
That it's like Sylvester Stallone with a stack of backwards hats so high that you can't see the top of it.
Yeah. Yeah, this the hats on hats on hats. Like
Nobody likes a hat on a hat.
this is like a mole's worth of hats on a hat.
You
Like,
can't even see the top of it. You're like, where does it end?
nah, it stretches all the way to the moon, man. Just so
And
many hats.
Stallone's like, hey, I gotta arm wrestle this guy, you know?
That's a lot of hats.
Hey, it's a lot of hats to turn backwards when I go over the top. I gotta drive my son in my truck to a place, teach him to beat that pinball kid. Meet me halfway
Oh my
across the
god.
sky.
An over the
Yeah.
top reference in our
Dude.
versus episode.
I love Over the Top. Like that movie knows how to be cheesy and silly and over sentimental and do it right.
Mm. The thing in this movie that made me laugh so hard is one of the first things that we learn about our main character is that when the woman is like being held captive by these gangsters, he says to them, "Here's the thing, I'm a feminist," and then like kills them to set her free, basically. And then proceeds to scream at her, tell her to shut up, demand answers, and then whenever she's inconvenient or in the way, knock her out with a single punch.
Just Ben from Night of the Living Dead style. Barbara's just like, Barbara's too much, so bitch, you gotta sleep.
Yeah. And he does that to her multiple times in this movie.
He does it so many times that she has it started to resonate and she starts to dodge it. She starts to see it coming. She starts to telegraph it because he does it so much. There's so much time in the first half of this movie that she just cannot account for because she was like, what about the...
Yep.
And she's on the ground. Sleep. Good night.
Literally, another character walks into the scene.
And considering this film, there's probably, I imagine, a little bubble coming in and out of her nose because she's asleep.
Like this is what counts. This is what counts for feminism in 2000. Like,
well, to be fair, like part of I'm gonna get myself in trouble. Part of my feminism that I practice is the fact that like I will fight a bitch because but I'm not gonna not I mean look, it's because of equality though. I'm not gonna like be like, oh, this woman's inferior, so I'm gonna knock her out. Like that's different kind of. I'm the kind of feminist where it's like, if you're trying to fight, we could fight. Like I'm not gonna not fight you because you're a girl because I'm a feminist. I don't go around knocking bitches out willy nilly though.
You're also the kind of feminist that's totally okay with calling women bitches.
Oh, but like I would call a dude a bitch though. Indeed, equality. Here's one thing.
We do call each other bitch with some regularity.
That's true.
That is true.
That's true. Yeah, I'm taking it back, guys. I'm taking bitch back. Taking it back.
Oh God.
Much like dude, I'm declaring it a non-gendered nomenclature. Dude.
All right. Well,
bitch.
Bitch.
You said it though. You said bitch though.
I said bitch.
Key
and Peele. Love those guys.
Yeah.
You know who I think could probably do a decent remake of this movie? Jordan Peele.
No. No one needs to remake this movie.
Yeah.
This movie needs to stand as like it's a pillar, and there are people walking away from it, and there are people walking towards it. And the people that are walking towards it, I respect, but we're probably gonna not watch movies together. Probably. They're too far gone.
Around about the time when the Midnight Meat Train was coming out, the American directorial debut of this film's director, Ryuhei Kitamura, he began talking about an American remake of Versus.
Well, at least then he'd have like the studio execs like being like, in this instance, like, bring in some execs to be like, hey man, come on, man, just
Right.
just a little, I mean, that's a cool idea, but what if you just
You know what would be
took the
cooler?
fader down, take the fader
Less.
down a little bit. There you go.
Say
Spin
less.
spin the pot to the left. There you
Um,
go.
he said in 2010, this year 2010 will be the 10th anniversary of Versus. So I'm thinking of doing something special. The original film means a lot to me and has huge fans all over the world. So I
Yep.
can't do anything easy or cheap. I can't guarantee anything in the long run. It's a definite that I'll do a new Versus in the future for sure. That was 2010. That was 15 years ago. And
Okay,
then
so go ahead.
yeah, no, I was gonna say he has been talking about a sequel pretty much since the DVD commentary for this movie, where he said that a sequel would pick up right where the first film ended, which is to say 99 years after the events of
So
this movie.
tail end of the apocalypse. Cool.
Correct. Yeah. Very, George Miller-esque kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he did say that he had a sequel in development as of May 2013. Again, that's 12 years ago.
12
And
years
had
ago,
hoped to
yeah.
have it released by 2014. And 11 years
Who
after that, nothing so far.
who directs the American remake of this, Steven? May I suggest Edgar Wright, even though he's not American?
I
Edgar
think
Wright could
I
do
think
this movie.
I think he could pull it off.
He
He's
could do
got
this movie for sure.
the similar background and probably the respect for the original to really pull it
Yeah.
off.
And, despite my people walking towards it, people walking away at comment from earlier, I could see some people that I respect enjoying this.
Mm, for sure.
For sure.
For sure. There is an ultimate director's cut of this movie that is 10
Oh,
minutes
gosh. Oh, no.
longer.
Give me a director's cut that's shorter.
I was going to
What
say
if?
Michael Mann has a couple of those.
And that's a guy who knows what's up. He
Mm-hmm.
sees it and he's like, you know what? Gotta do it my way, even if it's shorter. Speaking of the Heat 2 script, it's
Yeah.
done, dude. It's done.
I
Read those articles. There's been articles coming out, Steven.
no, I
Read
haven't.
those articles.
They've not been hitting my feed. I'm
Yeah, dude.
cautiously optimistic for Heat 2. Not gonna lie.
We getting some Adam Driver in that motherfucker.
I've heard the novel's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read it either, but we got some. Michael Mann says he's handed in his Heat 2 script to Warner Brothers.
Okay.
And that is March 30th, so that's yesterday.
Yesterday, as of the recording of this episode. So I will go see Heat 2 in theaters for sure. I will probably
for
go
sure.
by myself, but I will
And
be there to see that.
I'll go with you, Steven.
Hell yeah.
So Heat, it's not like one of my top anything movies.
Oh,
but
Heat
you
is
can't
in my top 5. Yeah.
You can't deny that it is a masterclass in filmmaking. Like actors, everybody's on their A game. Everybody's putting in the work, and it comes together beautifully. So I would love to see a sequel.
And that's a movie that is long as fuck, but there's no meat left on the bone at the end.
No.
Like there's no fat on that thing. Like it is a lean fucking film. Whereas
It's
this
tight.
is
It's real fucking tight. It
this
could
movie
be
is
20 minutes
nothing
longer
but-
and it would still be tight.
Yes.
What
That's
is
that
that?
it is a precision piece of clockwork Heat.
Or
Whereas Versus is kind of it's long, it's overwrought, it's plotting.
sloppy. It's fucking sloppy, dude.
Fucking
Sloppy
work.
as fuck.
Yeah.
One of the sloppiest movies I've ever seen in my life.
Sloppy.
Sloppy.
Just nice and sloppy like a sloppy Joe.
Yeah, dude.
Like it just I don't know. It doesn't really work for me. I think it's fine. Like I'm not gonna like give it like a 1.5 star or anything like that. Like it's a functional piece of cinema, but it could be so much better.
Like I don't know how you just predicted my rating for this movie, Steven. But no, I hate this movie. Not a fan.
Right.
Totally hate it. But also, I get it. I get it. I was 13 once. I get
Right.
it. I
Yeah.
fucking get
Like,
it.
I mean, if had I seen this movie the year it came out, I might feel very differently about it.
I think that I would appreciate it slightly more, but I still can't see it getting above a 2 stars. Even in 2000 I was 18. Yeah, so even at 18 I would have been like, this is cool, but like maybe a little too cool, you know?
Too cool for Tukey, maybe.
Yeah, like I don't know, it's a little much. It's a little much.
Yeah, and again, it is a picture of excess. It's just a young filmmaker just putting it all out there, but not knowing enough about filmmaking to know when to call
Steven, it's like if detention sucked.
it. I was gonna say, based on just the number of like genres this movie seemed to operate in, I was thinking before I saw it, like, I wonder if this is going to be a Japanese detention. And I started watching it and I'm like, oh no, it's not at all.
This is the movie. Joseph Kahn sees this movie. This is all. I don't know this for real. This is
This
just
is
all my speculation.
speculation,
Joseph
right?
Kahn sees this movie and he's like, "Oh hell no! Like I can do that, but it make it not suck."
Right.
That's been basically all of his movies. Have been like this kind of gusto, but with just enough restraint and
Mhm.
just enough editing skills
Right. And
to
again,
make it work.
like, this film makes me appreciate the art form that is film editing.
That's who remakes this movie, Steven. That's who directs the remake of Versus. Joseph Kahn's Versus.
Oh, there you go. That'd be fun.
Coming 2028, I'd watch the fuck out of the absolute fuck out of that, Steven.
You would. You would.
I
You
would.
well, of course,
I
you're going to
would.
be there day one, front row for any and all
Oh,
Joseph Kahn
give me
films.
some
So,
ick. Enough with the festival circuit. I can't make it to any of these festivals. Look, they're in their final VFX phase on this version of the film. So hopefully that means, we get a distributor. Maybe we'll see it before next year.
fingers crossed, man.
I just really want to see it. I just love Joseph Kahn.
I never did ask you. How'd you feel about your boy Kyle Mooney's Y2K?
Y2K was all right. It
Okay.
was okay. I need to see it again because I watched it and the only theatrical output that Kyle Mooney has had any big creative hand in was Brigsby Bear, which we're going to do for Straight Up, and I cannot fucking wait because that
Future
movie,
episode of Straight Up Brigsby Bear,
holy
right?
shit, that movie's so good. But it's such a different beast than Y2K is. And I think Y2K, as far as creative output by Kyle Mooney goes theatrically, you should have done Y2K first.
Okay.
Because Brigsby Bear really, like, Y2K it's a step down, not because it's bad, but just because it like Brigsby Bear is a movie that really hits every single mark. Like anybody could watch Brigsby Bear, and as weird and silly and as cringe as it is, you're gonna cry at the end, probably multiple times during the film. But
Okay.
then Y2K is just kind of a silly throwback horror movie. LOL, we're all having a good time, which is great.
Sure.
But to come off Brigsby Bear, which is a powerful fucking movie.
It's the Michael Mann thing where your first movie is Thief, and it's like such a like really well crafted film that for your next movie to be The Keep feels like kind of a step back.
Yeah. And The Keep is great. It
Oh,
is great. But in that
love The
context,
Keep.
fuck
Yeah.
right off.
Right.
And it's the same with Y2K. I need to watch it again because when I saw it in the movie theater, I did like it. Like I appreciated it, but I will appreciate it a lot more once I remove myself from the expectations that Brigsby Bear set.
That's fair.
So I'm waiting. I was too late to get the VHS version that A24 was putting out.
That's a bummer.
And that seems to be the only physical media version available.
Oh, that extra sucks. I'm sorry to hear that.
I'll wait until I'll wait until collectors realize there's no demand and I can buy one really cheap on eBay.
Fingers
Because right
crossed.
now
Man.
they're sitting at like 100, $150. Dude, nobody wants that shit. Like, you got
Well,
that because you
you
thought you were
do,
slick.
but yeah.
I do, but I'm a small minority. And it's so weird because that gal that stars in it is so big now. And for
Rachel
it to
Zegler.
flop
Yeah.
so hard.
Well, I don't think there was the marketing push on it was fairly small, which I think is a
There
big
was,
part of that.
and it really depends though. It was big for me because in social media, my algorithm is
Kyle
tuned
Mooney.
in to
Yeah.
Kyle Mooney. So I got a lot of shit, and not just from him, but like ads and stuff all over the place.
Yeah,
But
in fairness, you are the target audience for that movie.
I'm the audience. And the more I think about that movie, the more I want to watch it again because I am thinking of like how rad some of that shit was, but I was just not able to enjoy it as much because I was like, no, there's like it's not this other movie was like a deep, insightful, existential thing, and this is just silly fluff, and like it's really good, but it's silly fluff, and like
Right.
So now I might watch it soon. I think it's on Max
Is it okay? Then I'll definitely put it on my list of,
or some such
too many things to
streaming.
watch.
I'll check my app real quick. But yeah, Y2K, it's good, but I have not been able to appreciate it as much as I would like to. I'll tell you, I'm immediately reminded of a movie that I stopped midway this last week, Venom: The Last Dance.
Oh yeah, you were talking about that in the group chat.
I can't believe I didn't finish that movie. It's not good at all. Not even Tom Hardy. Not even Tom Hardy, if you can believe it. Up to this point, my motto was, doesn't matter how bad it is. If Tom Hardy's there, we're going to be fine. It's going to
Right.
be okay. But no. Venom: Last Dance. Much like this film, to bring it all back,
I was gonna
much
say
like this film, it does too much of the thing that worked.
that, and that's
It does too much of the big thing that worked, and not enough of the little things that stitched that all together.
like Michelle Williams.
Yes, well, obviously, yes.
Obviously.
But
So there are a couple of release dates here. I'm going to go with the Japanese release date because the American release date is not until like 2011.
yeah.
The movie itself comes out at the Toronto International Fantastic Film Festival in October of 2000. I'm going to go with it opens in Tokyo on September 8th, 2001. So that's the date I'm going with. It does not really get any kind of American box office whatsoever, but was released internationally. So I'm going with the weekend of September 7th, 2001 in the United States. It looks very different, I'm sure, than it does in Japan. In first place, a movie that we will be covering on this podcast one day, The Musketeer. What if there
Just
was
the
a
one.
Musketeer?
Just the one. Normally, when we're talking about Musketeers, let's be real here. Normally, there's two more, but
Right.
this
Sometimes even three more.
and one of them might even be a lady at sometimes.
It depends.
But this one,
Just the one.
just the one.
We'll
Just
figure
the
out
one.
why one of these days.
Maybe. I've never seen it. Had no desire, but I guess one day I will.
You will. I'm not going to give you a choice. And then in second place, something called Two Can Play At That Game.
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that is, and for it to be at
I
second place at any point in cinematic history,
it
that's
is
baffling.
it is
Wait, it's a romantic comedy. It's a romantic comedy, and it is aimed towards African Americans.
Bobby Brown is the second lead of the movie.
Just by the title. Oh, I'm good at this.
You've also got Vivica Fox, Kelvin Brown, Zatella Beatty.
I do love Vivica Fox, though.
Oh, absolutely. Anthony Anderson, Gabrielle Union.
Okay.
My man Morris Chestnut, love that guy.
Yeah.
Tamala Jones, like Monique.
Yo, speaking of,
You know what? There's a white man in this cast, and you know his name, Tucker?
Neil Patrick Harris.
Ray Wise.
Hey, that's even better.
Right?
I was at so I stay at my sister's house when I'm in Indy, usually 99% of the time. And my nephew is watching Twin Peaks, with my sister and my brother-in-law.
Hell yeah.
And I've seen Twin Peaks recently, and honestly, it's in the last probably 10 years or so, Twin Peaks is very much spiked in popularity to the point to where, like, I'm into it, but I'm not that into it anymore because it's just everywhere. I don't have to be into it. It's just fucking everywhere.
Right.
And so I was not participating in this watch through, but it was the scene where Ray Wise is mourning his daughter.
Oh God.
You know that fucking scene.
I do. It's such a
And
fucking great scene.
within the context of that show, it's fantastic. But
Yeah.
when you're in the other room trying to
Uh-huh.
play a video game on your Switch,
It's
and
hilarious.
that man is wailing,
Yeah.
and like it's like, oh my God, is this over? Is it done yet?
It is an
Can I get back?
exercise in the importance of context.
And patience.
Twin Peaks as a whole is an exercise in the importance of context.
You can't look away. If you look away, it ruins the entire series. You look
That's
away
it.
for 1 second, you
You're
fucked
done.
yourself.
Same with
It's
this
not
movie.
a show. This is
You
why
look
I've
away,
never
you
made
don't see it, why he puts the glasses back on the dude.
This is why I've never recommended Twin Peaks to my roommate, because she cannot watch anything without like also being on her foot. She's second screening.
Yeah.
Which I am very against.
That does not surprise
Unless
me.
it's like the news, which I hate that fucking show. But
it's the worst show on and it keeps getting worse.
right, and if you're like me, which I know I am, it's never like outside of the weather. It's not
right.
It's all on the internet. Even the weather's on the internet, man. Like the news is like somebody read the internet for like 5 minutes and then like expanded that into a half hour of people talking.
The whole Nazi takeover subplot that we've got going on over the past couple seasons, I'm not a fan. Like I'm just
not a fan either.
Yeah.
No. Anyway, what was number 3, Steven?
A movie by a very canceled individual, Jeepers Creepers. Less said about that, the better. Moving on.
Yeah, I never saw the third one. I heard it wasn't that good.
I never saw any of them, and I have a reason not to.
I will say, as someone who saw those films before, the Ick, not Joseph Kahn's The Ick, but the IRL Ick came out about that person. The first one's pretty all right. Justin Long, pretty all right. It's very original for its time, but still fuck that guy. Anyway, number 4?
Yeah. Mark Wahlberg's Rockstar.
What? No. I worked at the video store when that came out. I worked at Hollywood Video in Carmel when that came out, and I had to watch it. This is why I loved working at Hollywood Video, is we were required to watch at least 4 new releases between when we got them on Wednesday and when they were available to the public on Friday.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've seen motherfucking Rockstar, and Jennifer Aniston's in it, and it's not good. It's not good.
Yeah. In fifth place, a movie that I just purchased on Criterion 4K. It's The Others. The Alejandro Amenabar film, The Others.
Hey, Nicole Kidman. Say hi to your mother for me. Hey, Ghost Kids. Wait, no, I'm thinking of the other one. Right? Is The Others the one where she has ghost kids? Or she's the ghost?
They're all ghosts.
There it is.
For The Others.
Fuck. I saw it when it came out.
She's a ghost. The kids are ghosts. Everyone's a fucking ghost.
The only
people that aren't ghosts are the people they think are the ghosts.
I was like, twist. I was very M. Night Shyamalan-y about that. What a twist.
Rounding out the top 10, we've got Rush Hour 2 and 6, American Pie 2 in 7th.
Okay.
Rat Race in 8th.
Oh, I mean, John Cleese was in that motherfucker. I had to watch that too because I worked at Hollywood. This whole top 10 is I worked at Hollywood Video and had to watch these motherfucking movies for my job. They didn't pay me. I didn't get to clock in while I was watching the movies. Then again, I didn't mind watching the movies.
Yeah, I didn't figure you would. In 9th
Hollywood Video was the shit. Anyway, 9th place. Go ahead.
The Princess Diaries.
Yep. Oh, fucking Mary Poppins in that motherfucker.
Mary Poppins and Fantine. Yeah.
And Mary Poppins still.
Sure. You with the tattoo. In 10th place. Othello.
That was the
Yes.
Othello with Julia Stiles and fucking
Josh
Mekhi Phifer.
Hartnett and Mekhi Phifer. Yep.
Yeah,
And I usually
this
don't
ain't
go
no
to
damn
11th,
movie.
but I'm going to 11 because 11 is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Hey, I'll tell you, look, there are Kevin Smith movies that are watchable and even enjoyable since then and before, but to me, like that and Dogma share the plateau of the Kevin Smith mountain.
Interesting.
Yes.
I would I'd put Chasing Amy and Clerks, Chasing Amy, and Dogma. That's the trifecta for me.
Really, really, okay. For
That's
me, it's Jay and Silent Bob and Dogma, and then probably Mallrats would come after that. After that, kind of all the
Have I
Views
ever
Universe
showed
movies
you?
are kind of.
Have I ever showed you my autographed Clerks DVD?
No, dude, can you straight up show it to me now?
Yes, I can. Hold on.
Oh, he has to take off his headphones. I have, I wish that they had put out, there was a big Clerks 10th anniversary DVD box set that came out. Oh, Steven's coming back. Anyway, it was called Clerks X.
Clerks X, I remember that.
And I wish they'd put that on like 4K because I have the DVD and it's fantastic. I love that it has all the things. It has like new commentaries, has the original ending, which is not great, but it's nice to be able to see that. It has the lost scene that they animated with the Clerks animated series animators. It has the fucking flying car. One of the best. It is the best in-universe short.
All
The
for
flying car is
flying car.
fantastic. Yeah,
You do
all
it
for
with
the
a bunch
flying
of guys
car.
with a car.
You wouldn't throw your hat over the wall.
So when the year Clerks 2 came out, and I forget the year, it came out in the summer. My birthday is in the summer.
2004, 2005, I'm going to say,
Okay.
for Clerks 2.
I was working at Barnes & Noble at the time, and I had the morning off, and the Downtown Comics in downtown Indianapolis
Hey, I know
had
that place.
Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson promoting Clerks 2 in the
2006.
store.
I membied when that happened because I lived in Indianapolis at that time, and I membied that.
I drove
I wanted to go. I
ass
wasn't able to go.
down there before
I would have
work
seen you there. Yeah.
before we even knew each other.
Yeah,
That would have
dude.
been wild. And to get my DVD autographed. So there it is. Jeff Anderson wrote, Jeff Anderson is above screamingly funny. But yeah, Jeff Anderson, Brian O'Halloran.
Jeff Anderson.
This is the reason I still have a Clerks DVD. I probably would have sold this a while ago had I not gotten it signed.
I never met Jeff Anderson, and that makes me sad. I always loved Jeff Anderson. Dante, though.
Brian O'Halloran.
I was on a lazy river with him once.
Oh, yeah?
We were in Louisville. I have a picture with him. I used to have an autographed photo, but 99% of my autographed photos outside of the 3 that exist here on my wall of Alex Winter, William Atherton, and Michael Rooker. There were dozens. And I got his autograph and shit, but then like it was at a convention in Louisville,
Mm-hmm.
and the hotel was one of those hotels that had a water park. And so after the convention, the VIP party was in the water park. And in those days, I was at the VIP parties because
I was
going to
say you were hobnobbing with the rich and the famous in those days.
I knew people.
That's why you're friends with all these famous people that will never be on our podcast.
No, because I haven't spoken to them in years.
Right.
Over a decade for most of them.
Right.
And the only one that I've spoken to within the decade has since passed.
Right.
So, but anyway, I was at this water park and I was on the lazy river and Brian O'Halloran was there and I straight up sprayed them with the thingy. There's the thingies you can spray people with on the lazy river. A little trap so you can push the button.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a laugh. Brief interaction. I feel like we really connected. No, really.
At one point, I actually did have a picture with Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson.
Oh no, where is it?
It was on a digital camera that I cannot find.
No,
but they both decided to flip off the camera. Which this was back in when I was a youth pastor days.
Can't show that to your parents and or students.
Yeah, I can't post that one on Facebook. So so I never ended up posting it anywhere. And then now where I'm at a point where I don't care, I don't have it anymore. I also at one point had a Clerks 2 poster that they both signed, but I don't know where that is either. What I do have though is my autograph Clerks DVD. So hanging on to that.
I was simultaneously choked by both Bill Moseley and Kane Hodder.
That sounds like
And
a fun time.
that is captured on. There's a picture of that. In fact, Steven, I wonder if we could link to that somehow. Maybe I'll post it on my Instagram.
Okay.
And then we could link to it in the show notes.
I was gonna say if you want to just like send it to me, I can post it on the Bluesky account.
And on the Patreon?
Yeah. We can make it
All
a
the
Patreon
places.
exclusive if you want.
No, I don't want it to be an exclusive, man. Like
No
those
exclusives.
the people that are still left, that $33 we get a month, like bless those people.
God
Like I
bless
can't
them.
imagine like
Love you
making
guys.
anything exclusive at this point unless it's like actual Patreon episodes.
Sure.
But yeah. Good job. We did it. We fucking did it, dude.
Versus has a
We did it.
75% tomatometer score. The critics' consensus, is there a critics' consensus for this one? There is
Maybe.
not. Straight up, no, there is not.
No.
There is no critics' consensus, so we'll move on to the Metacritic score. Oh, wait, there isn't one, so we'll move on to the Letterboxd score.
Letterboxd, because I know Letterboxd, and there are some people who really, really like this movie, but then the people who don't, I imagine, are probably gonna have some LOLs about it. So I'm gonna say on Letterboxd, this is gonna be in between a 3.2 and a 3.6.
It's a 3.4, right on the money.
Fucking A, I'm back, baby. I'm back.
Took you long enough.
Bitch, I'm back.
Bitch. You said bitch, though?
I did.
You said it? You said it, though? You
Just
said
now,
bitch?
dude. Straight up just now.
So I think you've already revealed your score, but out of 5 stars, Tucker, what are you giving 2000s Versus?
Oh, 1.5.
It's a 2.5 for me. So
Really?
Yeah, I told you it was fine. It was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, the good and the bad kind of go hand in hand. So I can't give it more than that, and I don't want to give it less than that. So that's kind of where I am.
That's fair.
So yeah, it's I mean that averages out to a 2-star rating between the two of us. So there it is.
Sure.
That
That's
is
fair.
it. Friends, we did it. We straight up fucking did it. That is the first episode of our Big in Japan 2 : even bigger theme month. Hopefully we've got a guest next week. I've been trying to get a hold of him and he hasn't gotten back to me yet.
You want me to call him? I'll call that motherfucker.
I know you will. I don't know that we
Call
need to
him
do
right
that
now.
right now. He has a small child who is
I don't
probably
give a fuck.
asleep. I know you don't.
He's got
but
his shit
he
on
might.
silent. I'll call him right now.
Anyway, so this has been the Disenfranchised Podcast. You can find us on Bluesky, YouTube, and Letterboxd at DisenfranchPod. Shoot us an email, disenfranchpod@gmail.com. Let us know how we're doing. Sign up for the official conversation of the Disenfranchised Podcast, patreon.com/disenfranchpod. At the free level, you get episodes and get to talk to Tucker and I pretty much on a regular basis. For $5 a month, you get access to tons of behind-the-scenes footage and episodes and goodness, and maybe even that picture of Tucker. And
we haven't done anything in a while. I'm working on that. I have an idea. I'll talk to you about that later, Steven. Okay. But there's still it's been a good year since we've really done anything on the Patreon. But despite that, there's still like weeks. Like you could listen to the shit on there for probably a month, and you wouldn't run out of shit.
No, there's shit there.
People be shitting.
People be shitting. And mostly us. You can find us on. I did the social media thing already, so that's rad. That is Bill Moseley. That is Kane Hodder, and look there in the middle. That is you.
I was just hanging out with Bill Moseley, like we were having a chat, and Kane Hodder came over, and they both choked me, and I don't remember why, but
you decided to record it for posterity.
Well, yeah, we got a photo of it, that's for sure. Back in
the
those
first
days,
Bill Moseley movie I ever saw was Repo: The Genetic Opera, which feels like a bad first Bill Moseley movie to see.
You know who loves that movie, surprisingly?
Who's that?
Who doesn't like horror or gore, like completely sensitive to that shit, not a fan? Julie showed me Repo. if you could, out of all the people to show me all the things, Julie showed me Repo.
I've seen Repo
It's
one
so
time
weird. Oh my
in
God.
theaters. I took an ex-girlfriend of mine. The two of us went to go see Repo, and then afterwards we got like the autographs of like the two guys that wrote the damn thing. The guy that played Grave Robber,
Nice.
and then again another autograph that I have no idea where the fuck I put it. But it's around here somewhere, probably in a box. But yeah, and the guy who plays the conductor of the opera at the end. But yeah, yeah, that's it. I'm Stephen Foxworthy. You can find me on Bluesky and Letterboxd at Chewy Walrus. You can find Brett, I think, on Letterboxd at sus_warlock if you should choose to do so. Tucker, where can we find you these days?
I'm still kicking around Instagram for the time being. At Ice909. Also on YouTube at the same handle. That's ICENINE, the number 0 and the number 9. Tuck Mugs is still around. I'm not adding anything to it. I'm trying to move it. Look, realistically, got a lot of life shit going on right now, and that's not going to stop probably until the end of the year. So
Right.
hopefully sometime this fall and or winter, I'd like to migrate that and start adding to it. So if you haven't, I mean, there's still, just like our Patreon, there's a lot of stuff on Tuck Mugs. So if you are not following Tuck Mugs on Instagram and you're still on Instagram, go ahead and check it out, and then we'll let you know when it has been migrated and where it has migrated to. I might buy a fucking domain. I don't give a shit. I don't know. I might buy a
Stranger
domain.
things have
Who
happened.
knows?
Who knows?
I got savings.
Yeah.
I haven't paid rent in years. I
Yeah.
got savings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Tuck_Mugs Instagram, Ice909 on Instagram and also YouTube.
All right. Sounds good. And that is our episode on 2000s versus. So until next time, for my absent co-host Brett Wright and the very present co-host Tucker,
That's
I
me.
have been Stephen Foxworthy. So until next time, I have the reflexes of 1,000 Mike Tysons. Don't mess with me.
What a dumb fucking thing to say.
Oops.